Hello, I am Shireen Hashim, CEO and founder of the award-winning Fashion Community Week, established since 2014. We are a business and marketing platform that offers support and opportunities for emerging global fashion designers and brands. Since our existence, we have launched and represented brands from 52 countries covering 6 continents. Through our platform, presenting brands takes part in our exhibition, showroom, shopping event, conference, and of course, our famous runway shows. In the year of 2020, we have launched as an online incubator for fashion designers and brands to offer support. Our programs include educational interview series with industry experts, an e-boutique platform for our fashion designers to sell their collections, one-on-one consulting services and workshops on brand launch and development. And finally, a virtual fashion week to continue supporting brands with exposure, PR, and marketing. I'd like to welcome you all to the opening day of the 12th season of our Fashion Community Week. Today is our worldwide fashion tech conference taking place in a form of panel discussion with 5 fashion industry founders, joining us to share about their innovative fashion tech companies and how they are impacting the future of the fashion industry. Joining us today is Cici Lee from Trendalytics, Isabelle Onimis from iFitYou, Hanif Brown from FitMatch, Shahad Jaffrey from Taffy, and Julie Evans from Sustalytics. Welcome to our Fashion Tech Conference, and thank you for joining us from different parts of the world today. I believe the speakers today are joining in from New York, Paris, Miami, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia, and I'm here in San Francisco, California. It is an absolute pleasure having you all on our panel today. Let us start with the introductions. Cici, would you like to go first?
Sure. My name is Cici, and one point of clarification, I'm actually not the founder of Trendalytics, but I am the CEO of Trendalytics. And previous to that, spent a decade working everything from financial planning to merchandise planning at a variety of different companies, including Target, Jimmy Choo, Michael Kors, and moved over to tech 3 years ago, 3 years and 1 month ago, actually, exactly.
Very nice. Thank you, Cici. Isabelle, would you like to go next?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. I am the CEO and founder of iFitYou, headquartered in Zurich in Switzerland. We also have an office in the US on the East Coast. iFitYou is an AI-based sizing recommendation tool for fashion retailers. We have launched on the 12/12/12. That's when I founded the company. And we are integrating in many e-commerce sites and have now rolled out our omni-channel suite of solutions for apparel retailers.
Wonderful, thank you.
Well,
Hanif, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you for having us. I'm Hanif Brown, the founder and CEO of FitMatch. Before founding FitMatch, I worked in retail investment banking and then retail private equity, where I saw different retailers of different stages of growth, scale, and face opportunities and challenges in their business. FitMatch is an AI platform that is an end-to-end middleware software helping brands plug in and optimize different fit tools on the front end. Really excited to be a part of the conference and listen to the other panel members.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hanif. Julie, would you like to go next?
Sure. My name is Julie Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of Sustalytics. So it's a B2B SaaS platform that helps fashion brand predicts what consumers want. Before founding Sustalytics, I worked 10 years in the fashion business, including 4 years at Inditex, so Zara's group. Both for Zara and Bershka, I was a head of buying and design.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Last but not least, Shahad. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shahad Joffrey. I'm the founder and CEO at Taffy. I'm very happy to be here, part of the panel. And so what we do is we offer personalized styling at your fingertips. We utilize AI technology to do the personalizing and the styling. And we're starting from the Middle East, starting from Saudi Arabia, and then expanding to the Middle East. We've launched 6 months ago. And we're serving our clients, and I'll be happy to share more about my business.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shahad. All right. Well, let us get started with the questions. My first question is for you, Isabel. Now, per your company's mission, iFitYou strives to provide apparel retailers with the most precise, engaging, and innovative size and fit software, including data in the world. Please share with us this journey of the experience that you are providing to retailers and why they should utilize iFitYou.
iFitYou has a great team of engineers, from AI to, of course, data scientist. Our CTO, Eric, has multiple years of experience in managing software that also have a lot of data to manage. And as you know, sizing for fashion retailers is unfortunately very often very messy, right? So this, the tool, the size engine that we have developed is enabling retailers to basically through a RESTful API to integrate fast with our sizing solution. We take into consideration, of course, their body measurement size charts, very important per garment type, and try to also enable them to gather those body measurements so they can improve not only the experience of the customer and lower the returns, but also their manufacturing and buying processes, right? So in order for them to really have data from the behavioral and the body measurement analytics from their customers using the size engine on their site, that they can leverage this data. So for us, what was important is, on one hand, that the fashion retailers can seamlessly and fast integration of our size engine, and on the other hand, that customers can have their experience narrowed to the minimum click possible to get a very precise size recommendation. So we are Swiss, so precision for us is our true, but it's very important, right? Because you cannot be wrong, and you cannot leave a doubt in the customer's head. Should she, buy an M or S? It makes a whole difference, because we don't want her to bracketeer, to order 2 sizes. That's what we are here for. That's what they pay us for. And we don't want her to return because it was the wrong size. And if she has adjusted her fit preference and she wants to wear it, looser, then she will get, of course, another size recommendation. And this has to be, the customer is king, right? So our customers are king. Those are fashion retailers, and their clients have to be super happy. So it has to have an impact on the average order value, on the conversions, and of course, on the returns.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. I was going to ask you something about customer satisfaction, so I'm just going to scratch that out now. So you've definitely pointed on how important that is. Let's see. Now, I have a question for Sustainalytics. Now, we understand that Sustainalytics was created with the purpose to empower fashion businesses to be more sustainable and efficient, right? Now, based on the idea that a consumer-centric supply chain could work as a way to minimize waste. Do elaborate on how this process is built to create impact in the minds of the business.
Sure. So I think there's two like underlying points in your question: process and impact.
Exactly.
So I thought I'd share a personal story, a personal experience that I feel really illustrates the impact, and hopefully the story will resonate with our viewers. So when I told you I was working myself as a head of buying of and design at Zara. So back then with my team, we had come up with this gorgeous shirt. It had like a tone-to-tone leather pockets, super nice. So we launched that production when the CEO tells us, actually, I think this looks too old for our consumer. So, please address this and do something about it. So we had part of the production was already done. And with the rest of the fabric, we thought, okay, we'll do a long dress, because we had studied our sales data. Long dresses were selling really well. So we decided to use the rest of the fabric for the long dress. And at the end of the story, it turned out that the long dress didn't sell that well. So we didn't know whether it was, kind of the new silhouette, maybe it was the shade of color, but somehow consumers were not going for it. And we knew that was, a waste, basically. Whilst the shirt, on the other hand, we had part of the production, the shirt was a big hit, and we missed stock, and we missed the opportunity to sell. So the idea is, what if we had asked consumers before, how likely they are to buy this shirt and how likely they are to buy this long dress, instead of guessing. And the process is that basically at Sustainalytics, you upload your product concept on the platform so you can gather consumer insights before producing. And we know, how much impact it can have, especially for big brands, but also actually for small brands. And that's why clients come to us.
Wow, amazing. While I was studying about your company, there were a lot of questions that came up to my mind. I was thinking from my point of view, how would you cater to each brand's needs? So I think there's a lot of legwork that you have to do brand to brand in order to bring them a prediction. Correct?
Correct. Yes, so correct. So I think what you're saying is like, how do we transform kind of this data into insights that are meaningful for our clients, meaningful, impactful as well. So I'm going to take a real example to kind of to explain that. So if you take a picture of a dress, for example, a dress might have different characteristics, right? So it can be long sleeves, open shoulder. It can be in a red color. It can be long. So what we find out, for example, for one of our clients by testing different styles, was that the key characteristic of open shoulder was actually scoring really high. So this is kind of the key insight for this client, who decided to decline this characteristic onto their tops. And they started doing it on tops, and had one of their best seller of the season was actually their new open shoulder tops in different colors. So this is kind of an example to illustrate how we can make this product data meaningful for our clients. And this is just like a design idea. You can also apply it to distribution. We have different clients around the world. One of them that is very well known would be Galeries Lafayette. Yes. And for them, for example, we discovered that the hot pink color, like the fuchsia color, is unlikely to sell in France. But like, for example, the Italian ladies are really crazy for it. So this is just examples of how we can turn this like big data into insights that clients can actually use and build meaningful products, and obviously avoid any waste.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. These are definitely some of the questions I was wondering. So thank you for answering that for me. Now, my next question is for FitMatch. I've got actually lots of questions to ask you, but I'm just going to try to ask as minimal as possible. Now, while I was looking at your website, it's so well done on how it is explained process by process. So that's what I want to ask you, which you can probably share with us without the visuals, obviously. Now, obviously, FitMatch claims to provide comprehensive real-time data that is incredibly precise, right? So can you briefly walk us through the 4-step SaaS solution process that starts with Fitch ID to user experience to product integration, ending with the matches, please?
Yeah, great. Thank you again. So, what FitMatch sort of started with, our mission and our vision, was that we're coming off a year where retailers had one of their worst years of returns in history. But the problem is deeper than returns. It's also about conversions. It's about customer acquisition costs. It's about long-term value. And we believe that, especially for apparel, fit is so centric to that equation. In fact, fit is the number one non-price related criteria for shoppers when they buy clothes online.
Sure.
So we know that there has to be some fit solution out there. And what we did is we studied the market and looked at different issues or challenges that retailers had. And we tried to create a solution that really plugs into other softwares and enhances it for the retailer. So we consider ourselves to be very synergistic. And so how we work is really on the back end. So we do a lot of product integration first. We then, by integrating deep into the inventory of a brand, we assign a unique score for each user. So it's not only about a size recommendation, but what we see is that if I know that that's a size medium and it's a 95% fit, I'm more likely to buy it than if I know it's just a size medium. So our scoring algorithm assigns a unique score for each user. And then essentially we have a 4-step process. One is that we can essentially collect that user measurements through various integrations that we have, 3D, mobile, in-store. The second one really is around the scoring algorithm that we provide. And the second and the third one really links up with each other, which is the product integration to provide that scoring algorithm. And then the fourth one is really the user experience. So as I mentioned before, because we assign a personalized score for each SKU, we can hide things from the user, right? So we can say, okay, well, she shouldn't see these items because there's a high likelihood she may return it or not like it. So we give the retailer and the brand ultimate power in how they can curate and personalize that experience on the front end for the shopper. And it's all based on our algorithms and the AI platform.
Wow. Such a distinct process that you're going through to make sure everything is so precise. Very impressive. How long have you been around at FitMatch?
So we started in 2018 and really spent the first couple of years building out the infrastructure and iterating. And then we launched into market last year.
Wow, very impressive. Congratulations. Well, thank you for sharing so elaborately about FitMatch. So let's see. Now, my next question is for Trendalytics, Cici. Now, living in the world of influencers, social media platforms, and the rapid changes in the fashion industry, there are a lot of birth of mini trends that are coming out each season within the seasons, right? How do you prioritize which trends to report on?
So I'll take a step back, actually. And I know I was going to do the introduction for the company here as opposed to at the beginning. So I'll give you a quick overview of what Trendalytics does. But social media actually is only one source of data for the company. So Trendalytics is a predictive analytics platform that essentially takes key metrics from search, social, and market information, triangulates between all three of those, and then gives you an output in the form of essentially keywords or trends and where they live on an adoption cycle. So, for example, if you're more on the forefront or a slightly trendier brand, you may be looking at slightly different keywords than any of your big box retailers or people who need to have a ton of information or higher volumes, that kind of thing. And so essentially what we do is we provide the information, and then teams, so our customers, will synthesize all of that information using our platform. And really you can kind of read, depending on where you live on the trend curve, you can find something that fits for everybody. So it's a discovery tool as well as a validation tool. So from a trend perspective, to answer your question, what we're really doing is there's kind of a difference, I think, between reporting on all the new and the next. And I think, so reports is not really central to what we do. It's actually a SaaS platform where people can go in and customize their inputs in order to see different types of outputs, essentially. But from a trend perspective, when you think about runway reports, you think about what people are talking about around the time of runway. It's all kind of the same. And I know famously, one of my customers has said to me, and this is, I think about this now, and it's so true given my past life, that everyone's reading the same trend reports. And even you think about, the designers out there that have their runway shows, for some reason or another, everyone kind of has similar ideas, right? Like there's, 1 year, I think I remember it was like half the shows were featuring some sort of space futuristic theme. And, you always wonder how those kinds of things happen. But essentially, our platform and our business evolves at the same rate as the consumer lexicon, right? Because we're paying attention to the way that people are searching things, primarily on Google. But, like what are they typing in as keywords? What are they interested in? And then matching it up in addition with social media influencers, to your point, and saying, okay, so how often is, for example, Gigi Hadid talking about biker shorts? How much engagement is she getting from her audience when she is talking about biker shorts, and what does that look like? And then triangulating that also with market information. So who's selling biker shorts? What's their price point? How frequently are they refreshed? Are they discounted? Are they not discounted? Is Zara also in this thing? Because then that would be market leaders as well as fastest to market. And so that will give you an indicator of where it is in its trend adoption curve. And so if you're a little bit slower, you're a little bit more mass market, you might actually have, I know every designer at every company likes to think that they need the new and the next thing. Like they need something that's brand new that no one's ever seen before. But that's not really how fast fashion works, right? Even now, it still takes a little while to adopt. So tie-dye, for example, it was huge, obviously, during lockdown, but it was on the runways in 2017. And so even the people who are like, oh yeah, like I'm very on the forefront of trends, it still takes an average of 2 to 3 years to adopt, even with the speed of social media.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that how we can also manage this is demographic to demographic. Just when we were talking about the biker shorts, right? I don't think that will appeal to me, but it appeals to the greater mass of that demographic. And I mean, for both Sustainalytics and Trendalytics, I think both of you have so much back work to do to see trend to trend. And in one case, of course, sustainability is very important for Sustainalytics, and for Trendalytics, I'm sure those are some of the areas, but also demographic to demographic to see what is more appealing and what will actually have an end goal and a result, right? So those are definitely very difficult areas to be in, but also very exciting to be ahead of the game and know what we're living in and what's coming forward for us in terms of trends. Well, thank you for sharing, Cici. Okay, so now my question next is for Taffy, Shahad. So it looks like Taffy is not offering just a basic styling service. It is curated according to each clientele's needs. The stylists are not only stylists, but prominent professionals from the industry, such as fashion designers and buyers. Although Taffy is contactless, it looks to me that it has a very personable approach. Was this way of styling service designed based on the demographic that you're targeting?
Okay, so basically it's a two-part question. You're asking about how we are personalized, and then why are we targeting stylists that are more like fashion designers and buyers.
Right.
So for our clients, we get to know them through our interactive fun quiz. Then we have the team of expert stylists utilizing some tools to create the outfits online based on their size, budget, and lifestyle. And then we ship the outfits right to their doorstep. So we make sure the stylist is actually from the same area, the same city, and has the same cultural background as the client. And we also monitor all the lifestyle of the client. We follow them through their social media and get to know their lifestyle, what they do, what they not. So we offer the personalization aspect of it. And then in terms of stylist, so when we first launched, we didn't show actually our stylist, like who's behind it, who's doing the styling. But then we realized, actually our target audience, they care about who's creating the stylist and who are they. I want to talk to them. I want to feel more engaged when creating their outfits. So we did more of a marketplace to show all our stylists, and then some of their creations, some of their background. So with that, we add the localization aspect, that they feel, okay, this stylist will actually understand me, understand my preferences, as well as to build the trust and the long-term relationships, because we're developing a product that's that you use throughout your life to get recommendations that suits you, around you and around your lifestyle, to make it more conversational, more personal, and more interactive.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, may I ask you, who is your demographic really, and are you planning to expand on it? Because it looks like it's a very niche market that you're going after, because you are looking at a certain lifestyle. Even when I looked at your stylists, they have a certain lifestyle, certain sense of style, and a big cultural aspect to it. So if you can please share.
Yeah, sure. So we're starting by targeting women in the workforce, because nowadays, from where I live in Saudi, women in the workforce is growing from 20 to 30%. And this growth shows that they need more convenient service, having a lot of responsibilities, taking care of their homes, their families. So they need help. So we started with this segment, and then we're also expanding to men, to kids, and we aim to bring personal styling to the masses using data and machine learning to deliver personalization at scale.
Okay, great. I was going to ask you if you will have any future integration of technology into your platform. So you just answered that. Great, great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your answers with us. Let me see, who do I want to ask next? Actually, FitMatch, I have a question for you. I was looking at your RAS solution, and I wanted to ask you something specific towards that. So through your omni-channel RAS solution, you are offering the store experience as well as the web experience that I've noticed on your site. Now, can you tell us which experience has been preferred by the brick and mortar retailers? Do you see more results more benefits through the store experience versus the web experience with RAS?
Yeah, great question. So unlike, I think, other approaches before us, a lot of it, others started and have done a lot of work online first. We started in the stores first, and we learned a lot in the first 2 years. We learned and had very intimate conversations with customers about what they liked, what they didn't like. And we continue to believe that it's not that the stores or the store model is not working, it's just not being done or will never work. It's just not being done the right way. I think the customer has evolved faster than the store has evolved.
Sure.
And so we created a unique concept called FitMatch after our company, where it was a very simplistic form of retail that was tech enabled. So someone could walk into a FitMatch studio, which is a virtual fit experience. There would be no inventory on the shelves. There would be sort of everything would be around the tech. They would go in. We integrated with a 3D company out in Hong Kong. The customer would take a scan, and then on their phones, they would be given an ID. That ID would grant them access to shop their matches, their personalized matches across any of our brand partners. And so we started just iterating on that concept alone, learning, getting all this data and insights. And then one of the largest real estate developers in the country asked us to continue rolling it out in COVID. And so we're now in 4 cities with the concept. And at the same time, brands started asking us if we could do this for them. And so what we saw was this interesting, because now we have the online version as well.
Sure.
We saw this sort of interesting mix where we're talking to retailers that have stores and obviously have their online business. And what we see is that both have advantages. The retail side allows brands to iterate in small pockets without going to their sort of very prized possession, which is their website. It also allows for more things to be done with the technology. However, of course, the online component is the scale. It's where you can really ramp up the solution. And the short answer is we believe that the best omnichannel retailers will do both.
Sure.
You will have the ability to interact with the technology online, and you'll have the ability to interact with the technology in their stores. And what they will do is they will merge the two so it's a cohesive omnichannel experience. And we want to help them power that end to end.
Wonderful. And especially at this day and age, this unprecedented time we're living in, a lot of stores, I mean, in many places, stores are not open, first of all. And if they are taking away
well, fitting rooms are closed.
Fitting rooms, they're closed.
Yeah, so that's
right.
Yeah.
So this is perfect for that, because you can even do the analysis before even coming into the store, because people are still, of course, there is a big growth on shopping online, but there are still old school people like me who like to stroll around, go into a shop, touch the fabric, feel it. Even though I'm not trying it on, at least I know that I can see the physical product of it, and I don't need to go into a dressing room to try it. I can take it with me. So
Yeah.
It's definitely a perfect solution. Now, while we are talking about fit, I wanted to see if iFitYou can add something to it. I'm not saying iFitYou and FitMatch is similar, but in the same concept of fitting, right? Now, how does iFitYou account for human error in regards to measuring? I know you have earlier talked about the perfect Swiss fit, but I mean, is there any other ways to improve on your current system and increase furthermore on customer satisfaction?
Thank you. There is always way,
To improve.
we have always to improve, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't exist. So, of course, we can improve. Machine learning helps us to improve every day, right? Yes. So, what we work with is a I cannot say it now because there is FitMatch, but it's a multi-layered way of extracting body measurements, right?
Sure.
So we've been granted 2 patents for the entire system. So from grabbing body measurements. So body scanner, mobile, manual, however you want to grab body measurements, integrating size charts and giving a size recommendation. All this is patented, right? The whole system.
Yes, of course.
So now, do we want to integrate in the future with, mobile scanning devices? Sure. When they will be precise enough, and by this I mean, when you take your body measurements with a mobile phone, right? That could be, what type of mobile phone are you using?
Sure.
Is there lens distortion? Are you taking it with the right thickness of the cloth on that the algorithm has? Are you taking the picture in the evening or the morning, right? Because then you're not the same height.
Of course.
So when all those things, and what is the customer experience? So when I'm shopping online, do I want to get undressed, take out my mobile, wear different clothes, so there is always some kind of, what do I have to give in, right? Mm-hmm. And how percentually wise, precise is our technology, right?
Sure.
Because a garment body size chart has to have some kind of, from this measure to that measure, right? It's not one single number. So our system is built on the body reference model, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. The second thing in regards to, for example, the omni-channel, right, that you talked about. Very interesting, right? That's why we rolled out now with the Oracle Retail in France. It's the first store of the future. It's called the O Store. And there we have integrated into POS, clienteling for, in-store appointments, right? So they can make the size profile before, and a few other suite of solutions. So yes, I agree with your colleague there that it is going to be getting the customer a seamless experience wherever they are shopping. It doesn't matter. They like the brand. They love the brand. They want to shop in that brand, and they should have the same experience whether they are in store or online, right?
Sure. Absolutely. You're definitely correct about that. And of course, consumers tend to be very loyal. Once they have a good experience somewhere, that's where they would be heading towards. Well, I'm glad that we are having a little bit of tech battle here between iFitU and FitMatch.
More the merrier.
Yes, absolutely.
It is the biggest problem. The returns are a small part of the whole effort in the sustainability in fashion, right? But they are still a problem. And every percentage that we can reduce is going to have, a positive impact on the environment. So totally. I think all of us, with all that we are trying to do here, everybody has, a different approach to try and have a sustainable impact. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So the only thing I'll add, and I love this panel, is we are seeing for the first time, I always give this analogy where Uber was not the first ride sharing company. However, Uber got formed when everyone started to have a smartphone and 3G enabled everyone to have GPS in their phones. So the scalability of Uber could not have, Uber couldn't scale to the level that it scaled unless that transition happened and that technology advancement happened. In the fit space, we're seeing the same turning point where Apple has now launched something called LiDAR in the iPhone 12.
Oh, yeah.
And this depth sensor, the fourth camera, allows now every one of us who have iPhone 12s and later to eventually do this in very precise ways. And we believe this is a turning point in terms of this technology becoming ubiquitous and having a lot of people do it. And of course, the retailers and the brands will do it as well. And so, Isabel, I'd love to talk to you offline.
Absolutely, Hanif.
But
Whenever
I'll
you
Thank
leave
you all afterwards. Don't worry.
Yes, with great pleasure, Hanif.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. These are just really good discussions on the fit match, and I'm yet to learn a bit more about this area. Let's see. I wanted to talk to Julie. So you see artificial intelligence for clients to upload their products, right? Now, how are you able to gather the necessary data and insights for each of your clients' products so that they know which products are the best to market to their consumers? Because you are working on the B2B level, right?
Exactly. Well, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the example of tie-dye that you used, Cici, because it's such a hot topic. So let's say that you see tie-dye as the hot trend coming on. Right. Maybe you see khaki as, a very safe color to work on as well, because maybe your historical data told you that, or olive oil. WJSN is saying olive oil is the new upcoming color. So what you will do is that as a designer, you will start designing different products into your khaki tie-dye, for example. And the point is that if you don't have Sustainalytics to test it, here you're just kind of coming up with something new based on the information that you have. But you will never know until it's in store whether this combination that you came up with, this newness that you're giving to the market, is going to actually work. And this is where we come in, where we kind of play, basically. And I can actually tell you that right now I use this example because we have tested a lot of tie-dye. So in all its forms, in all its type of products, whether it's the classic tie-dye, the new ombre gradient. And I can tell you khaki tie-dye is unlikely to sell and could become a massive waste. So I like giving this example because it might not be obvious to everyone. But for example, even mint tie-dye will sell better than khaki tie-dye. Even ombre gradient will sell better than khaki tie-dye. So the point is to test your own design to find out this information. I mean, this information, we also publish reports that you can find on the website about, key trends like tie-dye, the activewear, for example, the famous biker short. We will publish that one soon, so you can find all the information about the fact that biker short will sell better in the US than it will in Europe for now. So that's part of what we do. But this is an example just to illustrate how it is targeted for you, your consumer, and your own designs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, I think this is something that Cici can also answer, but I wanted to ask you something a bit more on the growth part of it. Now, working, I'm sure there are massive areas of clients that Trendalytics is working with. Now, after working with you, are your clients seeing a sales growth before or after using your software, basically, to see the difference of their growth, please?
So from an ROI perspective, it's a great question, because I think actually it's a method of thinking that you're not necessarily exposed to the indirect application of it when you're working on the retail side. So It's a funny thing where now I understand my users really well because that was my old job. However, on this side, I had to totally train my brain to think about things slightly differently, and working in the SaaS space, but like with a fashion, what do I want to say? Like bent, I guess, right? Because we're in the fashion market. However, we're a tech company. And so there's all sorts of things that I've learned on this side, like how to understand efficiency tools and how to collect use cases and what are case studies and how to quantify ROI. And these are all things that you're just not really used to thinking about when you sit on the retail side, because it's always, what was my comp? What did I sell last year? What was my markdown rate? What was my sell-through on a weekly basis? And those are really the only questions that retailers are really trained to think about. And so some of these more indirect tools, even if it's time saved, or is it, to the Sustalytics point, is it less sampling? Is it, did you save money on shipping because you weren't FedExing boxes overnight between country to country? Is it that you had to fly less stuff in so you could put more stuff on a boat? And is that better overall? And so there are all sorts of questions that go into gross margin. There are all sorts of questions that go, like, there's tens of thousands of decisions that you make at any given point. And I think actually one of the more interesting, so the short answer is yes, whether it's time savings or if it's an increased sell-through because it was an item that you were able to take a calculated risk on, as opposed to just saying, I'm going to do khaki tie-dye because it's a combination of a color that people have said are coming and a pattern that people have said are coming. It would be more along the lines of, hey, this is what people are searching for right now, and you actually have 6 months to get into this thing, 8 months to get into this thing, whatever it might be. But it is a very hard thing for retailers to think about sometimes, because you never think about what you would have done otherwise, if that makes sense. So you've chosen a thing, but you don't know what the thing that you didn't choose would have sold you. And so there's a lot of indirect ways to quantify results. And so is it that you used to spend, I'm making this up, 4 hours a week scrolling through your own private Instagram feed and following your influencers manually? Probably yes. And what do you do with those 4 hours now, right? You're probably, I don't know, analyzing your selling, or, just being more efficient in general so that you can increase your adoption rate, for example. And those are all things that directly impact your bottom line, that are ways that we think about impacting a business, if that makes sense.
Sure, they're different. There are lots of moving pieces, and if you really add all together, at the end of the day, you want to see if it's even compatible or worth it in terms of utilizing the service or not, right?
Well, and that's part of, I think, what a SaaS company, that's what a customer success person is supposed to do, right? Is help you understand like how you should be quantifying the results and what you should be thinking about it. But I think that was actually one of the most difficult learnings for me moving from fashion into tech, was just understanding how much data there is, right? There's so much data. And if you don't know what to do with it, it doesn't matter, right? And I think Katrina Lake of Stitch Fix says this the best. She's always quoted saying stuff like this is, you're drowning in data, but if you can't make sense of it, it's worthless to you. And so how do you organize it in a way that means something to you, even if it can't just be one additional source of data, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. And then utilizing it to the advantage of the business. Thank you so much. Well, looks like we'll have to wrap up, but I have one question, if you can all quickly answer for me. And of course, we're all tired of talking about the pandemic, but I just feel that we should definitely also, although we had such a positive conversation, I want to know from your perspective, what do you predict the fashion industry will look like in the coming years, especially in a post-COVID world, in the area of technology, of course? Shahad, do you want to go for?
Yeah, sure. So people shifted to buy online. So nowadays, people keep on sitting in front of a screen, consuming time scrolling between hundreds of choices, and the returns are the highest, and they're left with a lot of uncertainty. So I do believe integrating technologies to help the personalization, to make it more like a satisfying experience and lower the returns, will definitely help for also sustainability, because it's going to definitely reduce the returns. It's going to also reduce waste. It's going to reduce items that you don't need, items that you don't wear. It's going to also help you to utilize your wardrobe more efficiently. So I do believe integrating technologies will help a lot and will definitely create an impact in a post-pandemic world.
Wonderful. Anybody else? I have.
Yeah, I wanted to bounce on that because I fully agree with you, Shahad. And on top of that, I think there's two key points: sustainability and consumers. I think consumers are demanding more and more sustainable actions. They are also more and more connected. So they kind of taking the power. I think this whole pandemic has also given more consciousness. So I really see it shifting. Like for me, it is the tipping point in the fashion industry. It cannot continue the way it has worked right now, and I believe that what is going on is kind of this tipping point for the future.
Thank you.
I wanted to add on to that too, actually, that the thing that goes unsaid when people are talking about the retail industry is that it was already in trouble before the pandemic. The pandemic just made it even worse, right? Like companies were failing left and right, massively inefficient. Even the people who their clothing is really avant-garde and ahead of the time. Their technology was basically a typewriter in a back room, and people were hand carrying POs from one place to another. It's a joke, right? And these are things that people just have to understand, that technology is not the enemy, and it is such an interesting dichotomy in the fashion sphere specifically.
Absolutely, totally agree. And I think that with technology, we can further our growth in the industry, and then eliminate the waste that we are causing. Definitely. Yes, Isabel, you wanted to say something.
I wanted to jump on what. First of all, I agree with what has been said until now. And Cici, yes, people in the fashion industry have to become more tech educated, for sure. And I think it has started. Everybody says, 5 to 10 years of, leap digitalization. I think we're just at the beginning of it. And so, yes. And also, the consumers are demanding to shop in a more sustainable way.
Of course.
So whether it is, a choice of materials, new brands up and coming, we've seen it with a lot of new brands coming up, and they are growing like crazy. Secondary market, circular. Probably, yes. I don't see that strong, though, but definitely something in regards to how are my clothes made.
Right.
That's for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Isabel. Well, thank you all for sharing. And this brings us to the conclusion of our conference today with 5 brilliant CEOs and founders. Thank you for joining us and sharing about your company and expertise with us. I'd also like to thank our audience for joining in to be part of the opening day of our interactive virtual fashion week. Join us tomorrow, March 11th, to experience a diverse conversation with international fashion brands creating changes in the industry. Then join us the following day, on March 12th, to view our new Experience Fashion Runway show presenting this season's collection by international and local designers. And finally, closing out on our final day on March 13th, join us for an interactive shopping event to shop hot off-the-runway collection pieces that are not yet in the marketplace. For more details and schedule, visit our Instagram, Facebook, and website at Fashion Community Week. We look forward to seeing you all this week at our events virtually. Thank you again for joining us. It was such a pleasure having all 5 of you on our panel.